Show you today a quick demo of how HireMe can help you tailor your resume for a specific job, and also to sort of help you if you have a large history of jobs and you need to make separate resumes for each job. So in my particular case, I have lots of different experiences, and so I can apply for jobs as a project scheduler, a business analyst, a data engineer, data analyst, data scientist, AI engineer now, among other things. So the problem is, when you apply for a job now, it's very competitive and you just can't have one standard resume. I can't use my business analyst resume for an AI engineer job, and I can't use an AI engineer job maybe for a project scheduler job. So when you're in a situation like me and you have lots of different experiences, this is a tool that can really help with that. But just in general, it can help anyone that doesn't really know maybe how to do a resume. I'm thinking more like trades, people, going through like a workforce situation that need to find a job. I think this tool can help them as well. So just a quick look here. You can see over in my employment history, I've got a lot. I'm a job hopper. I'm usually at a job for about a year. I get bored. I just like to learn new things. So, I think it's a little more acceptable these days. It does hurt me in some places that are more traditional, but I think in general it's actually a good thing to get lots of different experiences because it gives you lots of different perspectives. You don't sort of get ingrained in one thing. They're just worried that you're gonna, leave and after they've trained you and everything. So you just have to kind of, jump in and start helping on day one and be productive and just reassure them that you're going to help them. But anyways, you can see I have a long history here of stuff. And so each time I apply for a job, it becomes really challenging to sort of decide what experiences to pick for this and, what bullets in that experience to use. It gets really time consuming. So what I've done is I've created a tool to help you out with that. So I'll give a quick demonstration. So this is HireMe, and if you go to the Tailor tab, you'll see over here that I have like a sort of a blank resume right now. I would call this. This is like my generic resume. This is all of my sort of information here that's not really tailored yet. So it's got like 5 pages. That's a pretty long resume. So I'm not going to go into much of the sidebar stuff here today. I just want to kind of show you more just how it helps you tailor. So I'm going to move my face real fast here because over here in this position is a place where you can just paste a job description. So I have one right now from an email. I'm going to copy it over and paste it just verbatim. Like I'm not going to change anything. So it's going to be kind of messy like that. So this is an email I received from a recruiter. This recruiter is asking about a data engineering position, and I currently don't really have like a data engineering resume. So I'm going to sort of tailor my resume to be a little more data engineering oriented, as opposed to AI engineer, data scientist. They're all kind of different fields. So I've pasted it in, and all I do is I click tailor now. I'm gonna move my head out of the way here. And we'll go through about 6 steps here in order to help tailor the resume. What it's doing right now is it's analyzing the job description. And before you spend your time applying for this job, the AI is analyzing your experience and the job description to sort of say, hey, should you spend your time even tailoring this, or should you move on? It's kind of reality check, I would call it. And this is actually pretty good. It's saying I got a 78% score. I've made this pretty conservative. I've never gotten anything in a 90%. Like the highest I've ever gotten is like an 84. But this is pretty good sign that I'm a pretty good fit. And it just gives you, some information about why you might be a good fit for this role. And it also gives information why you might not be down here. And I do not have Kafka experience, and that's real-time streaming. And I don't have much Hive or Pig. I use more PySpark and Spark. So there are some weaknesses, and it finds it. Those are important to know as you tailor your resume. So I'm going to accept and continue. When you get to this point, you can decide to have like a 1 or 2 page resume. The AI is sort of analyzing your experience and saying, well, you're more of a senior person, you should have maybe 2 pages, or maybe you're entry level, you should have 1 page. So for this case, it's saying I should have at least a 2-page resume. So that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to click and apply. And then we scroll down here, and it's kind of going through and showing us what it's sort of doing in the back end right now. It's basically, analyzing my resume data, comparing it to the job description, and getting ready to take me through a process of what to focus on in the resume. This doesn't take too long. Okay. So when you get to the first step, you get to decide what sections you want to show in your resume in what order. Oops, let me get this working here. It's kind of moving slow because I think I'm sharing my screen. Just one sec here. It's kind of laggy. Okay. So I just want to talk about this. Each job you apply to, there might be a certain order of your resume that might be more important than others. For example, sometimes your project might be more relevant than your experience, and your experience might be more relevant than your project. Maybe neither are, and maybe you should just have skills on the top, or education if you're recently out of college. So these are sort of things that you have to think about when you make a resume, and this just sort of speeds up the process and helps you out. You don't have to do it this way. You can go and change the order if you want later, but this sort of helps, speed up the process. So I'm just going to go ahead and use it. It, of course, here it explains why it chose this, just to sort of reason and give you an explanation. So it's not just doing it randomly. It's kind of actually using some reasoning to think of why you should have this order. And it's just some debugged information I have right now I'll get rid of eventually. So we'll confirm those sections. Okay, so next, one of the problems I have with the resume is, like I said, I have 17 years of experience. I have many different jobs, and it's sort of hard sometimes to decide which job to show for a position. For example, if I'm a scheduler, my scheduling experience was like 10 years ago. And, you want to show your most recent work, but you also want to show like a relevant role. So what this essentially is doing is it's looking through all of your experiences and saying, okay, well, first of all, we want to show your most recent experience. That's important. And generally, we want to kind of show your more recent experience. But if there's another experience that's sort of relevant to this, that maybe, wasn't maybe your last 3 jobs, the AI will suggest that you should add that to your resume. And we're also trying to fit this in like 1 to 3 pages. Ideally 2, but sometimes I go with 3 because there's just so much information. So in this case, it's saying, yes, use your most relevant role as an AI engineer, use your Walgreens position. Oh, and use this one too. This one was actually about 4 years ago, but it's saying based on the job description and your work experience, this is a very relevant one. Now, that's great if I just want to like really fit this into like 1 or 2 pages. I can probably only have about 3 job experiences to fit a resume with 2 pages. But since I'm going to probably want to show more experiences, I'm going to go down here and say, go ahead and make this relevant. And these are more recent experiences too. Make this relevant. But this will not fit 2 pages. So what it was trying to do before, it was trying to fit everything into 2 pages. And so that's why it only picked those other ones. But like I said, because I'm going to say it's okay to do 3 pages or more, I'm adding these other work experiences. Okay. And then it can also recommend projects for you. Now, actually, I don't like this project being recommended. I think they're using it because it seems to align more with the data engineer, but I'm going to not select this one for this. I still like this Gemini Live contest one as one of a project to showcase. And I try to limit my projects to maybe one or two. Again, this is some debugging information for me. Okay. All right, so now that we've focused on certain jobs, now it's going to focus on the bullet points for the jobs. Now this, like it said, may take a few moments here. Okay. So I generally don't mess around with this, but if you want to, you can. It's basically look through all of your bullet points for those positions that we chose to focus on, and it's ordering them in the relevance to the job description. So it's saying this is highly relevant to the job description. I guess this is because this is more of a complex pipeline versus this one down here, which is less important. So it's using the AI reasoning and looking at all your bullet points to sort of select what bullet points for the job and try to order the bullet points in the way that will quickly reflect your experience with the recruiter. Okay, so I'm just going to leave that for now. And this is running on my machine locally, and so I think that's why there's a little bit of a lag. It's kind of the front end and the back end's running on my machine right now. If this was deployed on the cloud, it would run a lot faster with a more powerful machine. Okay, so now these are skills, and these skills are important for what they call automatic tracking systems, ATS. Your resume may not even make it to a person if you don't have certain keywords in the resume. It will get blocked by a filter in their HR system. So it's important to put the right keywords in your resume, and that's what this section's for. And it gives me, some relevant scores of things to add. I probably want to keep anything above maybe 60% here. These all look pretty good. These are ones that by the way, these are skills that I already have, that I've already told that are stored in the database that I already have. So I'm gonna go ahead and select all those to help, get through the ATS system. But there's also some other ones down here that I don't have. And if I want to add these to help with the ATS, I can. I do have HDFS. I haven't really used Hive or Pig. Those are like distributed data systems. They're older though. I don't use them anymore. Unfortunately, I don't have Kafka. I think the understanding that you can put cloud platforms. I don't use Elasticsearch. This might not be the best role for me either. Like I said, I'm kind of a jack of all trades. I'm not a master of none. So some of these positions, like a data engineer, are probably, there's going to be some guy in India that just lived this stuff 24/7 that's better than me. But I learned it, and I learned it quickly. Okay, so we've picked our skills now. We've basically finished the focus section here. That leads us to this next section of the bullet style. So we can decide if we want to make our bullets very descriptive or concise. So concise will definitely be good for entry-level positions where the HR person looks over it in 5 seconds and throws in the trash or not. If you want a 1-page resume, I actually like the concise too sometimes to get your foot in the door for a position, and then maybe later on you use the detailed if you're going for the interview. But a lot of times people just don't want to read all the resume, and HR people their eyes they get bored to death reading the same thing over and over again. So to keep things concise for them is really nice. I've gotten some feedback from HR people about that. Just they really like it more concise than expanded. And then some people even tell me they want it more expanded. I go, okay, then I'll make you a detailed one. I think for this position, since it's a data engineering one, this one's tough. Data engineering people tend to be more precise. So I'm going to put the more detailed bullets in, but I do like the concise ones better normally. That will make it harder for me to fit it on pages though. Let's go concise just to show you guys that. Okay. All right. Now, what I like to do is sort of cross-reference the job description with my bullets and create a summary for each position to align that position with the current job description. Because in some positions, for example, at Walgreens, I might have been a business analyst, I might have been a data engineer, I might have been a data scientist at times. What this will do is it will say, okay, this is a data science position, and these are bullets that align with data science, so we're going to write a summary sort of more focused about that. So this is a way for the HR person to quickly scan your resume and sort of understand it better rather than having to read each individual bullet, so it makes their life easier. But I think it also helps with some ATS systems, HR systems to sort of, especially with the new AI ones, to sort of get your resume through their system with this summarized information to kind of help it understand who you are. Now, this is something I recently learned. I have to be careful about my job descriptions. And if you're applying for like a data engineering job, you probably could use AI engineer here. But for example, this one, I shouldn't say I'm a business analyst. I probably should have said I'm a data engineer here. So that's what I'm gonna say. And then here, I'm gonna say more of a data engineer instead of a business analyst. Sure, machine learning engineer. So if it comes down to it someday, when I have to fill out some sort of system application online for the company, I'll put the real official job title. But to get your foot in the door, I highly recommend aligning your role with the responsibility better at your last positions. So there's this, like, a business analyst is not usually seen as a technical person. They're usually seen as a friendly person that gives the meetings, takes notes. So it's kind of hard for me to show, that I'm a business analyst. They'll see that and they go, what the hell is he applying for a data engineer to a business analyst? Well, I was actually doing more data engineering work than business analyst work. So that's sort of why I can get away with that. Just be careful about that. All right, now this is a feature I still have to work on a little bit, but again, it's going to take the job description and say, okay, this is the title you should use for the job description. I'm going to select that one. And then it's going to sort of generate a summary for the top of your resume. Think of this sort of like your cover letter, sort of aligning who you are with the job description. It's the first thing the HR person will probably read. Think of it like the abstract, the summary for a job report. Now this takes a little while. It's using a more high reasoning AI system right now. It's the 5.4 version of OpenAI. So this just takes a little while, but it's important for this to be precise. I find that it's not doing that well right now, so this is actually a thing that I'm currently working on to make it better. But overall, maybe after one or two tries, it does a pretty good job of generating a good summary. It should generate the summary on the first try, but it seems to have some growing pains right now. And again, this part takes a while because it's basically analyzing your whole resume, the job description, the resume you're making. It's doing a lot of thinking right now to sort of write a summary for you. So we'll just have to give this a second or two. I'm going to pause it. Okay, it finished. It didn't take much longer, but I didn't want to bore you. So this is some of the issues I'm seeing right now. It tends to like break apart words that shouldn't be broken apart, splitting them. So I just have to go in and double check those. Now it kind of focused on a data engineering perspective, so it talked about my PySpark experience, mostly working with my chatbot data, not so much my recent AI engineering experience where I built agentic pipelines in Google Cloud. But for our situation, and just to show you now, that's good. But if I didn't like that, I could go down here and give it feedback. Let me save the changes. I could give it feedback, and then I could tell it to regenerate, and then it probably would do a better tailored summary. Like I could say, no, I want you to focus more on my recent experience, or hey, this isn't really aligning with the job description, and I put the job description in here, and then it will reanalyze and do a better job on the second pass. But that's pretty good for the first pass today. So we'll just leave that there. So I'm going to accept the summary, continue. And so now you can see we've gone through analyzing, we focused, we chose the bullet style to be concise, and we did like a contextual alignment where we wrote a summary for each job and an overall summary here. And I think we're done. So we're going to hit continue. I just like to name it sort of like the company I'm applying with and the job. And I save it. Oops, not that. There's saving. Okay, so we've saved the resume, and you can see now we had that blank sort of general resume before. Now it's sort of aligned it better. Now we've got a better title here for the position. We were at 5 pages, now we're to 3. We get the summary. It'll put the work experiences first. Okay, I put the projects here. Now I have, in a lot of these work experiences, I might actually have 20 bullets. And by adding more bullets each time, it sort of learns and grows, and I don't have to keep adding bullets. So it's choosing like the top 3 bullets for these experiences. And if I, for example, didn't have like a bullet, I can add that, and then next time I don't have to keep adding that bullet for an experience to fit a job. So it's smart about picking sort of what to show the HR person. That's the goal of that. Okay, so these are my experiences. This is the project. This is the skills that we selected. Okay, and there's my education and certification. Now, if we go over here, I'm going to move my head. I can preview it over here and sort of see what it's going to be like when I export it. Right now, I can only export to PDF. I don't have Word at the moment. Probably in the future, but for now, I mean, just getting the PDF is hard enough. So I'm just focusing on the PDF. But you can see I got 3 pages, but it's kind of weird how I've got this like last page down here, which is not necessary. So I think we can fit this into 2 pages. So how to do that is I'm going to move this back over here. Make sure I select the right screen. Let me scroll back up better. This footer is kind of annoying, isn't it? Okay, so if we scroll down, and I can hide a certification. That's probably not too important for this position to, you know, and it's like, what, 2 years ago? 3 years ago now almost. So I'm just going to hide that. That will reduce my pages. But the cool thing is I have a AI optimization over here too. So I can say, you know, make this 2 pages, and what it will do is it will use reinforcement learning in an online way, which means it's just looking at your current resume. Online means it's not lots of trained data. It's going to basically optimize all these parameters here in order to make the resume 2 pages. Because that's a huge annoying thing about resumes is formatting them, right? And my goal is to try to make it look nice and try to have it fit on 2 pages and not have like one thing on page 3. Now there's a bunch of different ways I could do this. I probably could just change the font size, just make it slightly smaller and it'd fit. But I'm going to show you the AI method. So I'm just going to click on 2 right here. And it's going to go through this parameter search essentially. It's going to adjust parameters, analyze the results. Based on the results, it's going to decide, is it optimized or not yet? Or is it optimized to the best it can be? So, like, again, it's looking at all those parameters and deciding how to make this 2 pages in the best possible way. So this is actually going pretty fast because this wasn't a challenging one. I had just that one education section that it needs to sort of figure out how to get into the second page. So it's probably going to like reduce the font size and some spacing issues, and it'll probably get it up there pretty easily. But it's doing it by itself, which is just a nice thing. If you're going to automate this someday, which is kind of my goal, to sort of just be like, I actually want like an AI, like to make this a spot where a recruiter can talk to my AI answer machine essentially, and they can ask for my resume, and I can say, well, just give me the job description, I'll give you my resume. And then they'll give me their job description, and this will poof, make a resume for them, so I don't have to constantly make a resume. That's actually my goal, but there's a lot of testing involved to get to that point, so not quite there yet. All right, so now we're optimizing it. And this just takes a second or two, so not too bad, but I'll pause it for a sec here. Okay, it's done. And you can, I don't know if you can tell, but it is fitting 2 pages now, but the text is a little bit smaller, which, you know, is a little harder to read. So there's a cost to, you know, making it fit 2 pages. I just had to make the text smaller, which makes it harder to read. So if I didn't like that, really my only option would be to like either reduce bullet points or reduce that work experience. Maybe, you know, like this one back here that's a little older. If I really wanted to do that. There's still some human judgment involved with this, but like I said, my goal is to try to optimize all that. Okay, so we got 2 pages and everything looks good. I just like to do one quick review before I export, because who knows what the AI can do. Sometimes it can do weird JSON things. So it all looks decent on a first glance. Okay, so I mean, I could save this, but as I export it, I'll save it too. So I'm gonna go ahead and export this. Now, I've put some sort of checks in here before I export. I've found in the past that I might have a spelling error. And so this is sort of like another check to make sure when you export it, you don't have like a spelling error or some weird grammar in your resume. Sometimes the AI, like I said, outputs funky stuff. It shouldn't. Like once in a blue moon it does, but sometimes it might. And so this is sort of like a last check, because I mean with the resume, you can't have any grammar or spelling errors. That's just like automatic goodbye for your resume in the trash. So just another check just to make sure, and you can use your human judgment if you want to make these changes or not. So it explains what it was before and what it should be based on its recommendation. So I'm just gonna say fine for all these. This look fine to me. I just have to watch out that it changes words like PySpark to Py space Spark and stuff like that. But it looks all good when I glance over it. So we're gonna apply those. Now it's going to export it into a PDF for us. And there we go. Now these are links here. So if you want to go see your LinkedIn, the person can open up the PDF and click on it, and I'll take you to, you know, websites that you have. Actually, I'm going to open a new link in tab. So this is like my pages, stuff like that. I found that this stuff was really hard to make as a link, but I understand if you're printing it, you'll lose that. Maybe that's an option in the future where I can say, do you want your links to be an icon or do you want it to actually be the HTML? But making it the HTML has lots of design issues fitting it in here. And by the way, this is my most basic design. You can think of this like a classical resume. In the future, there could be better designs, but really the design's not that important. What they really care about is the substance. Okay, so you could have this design or you can have the most amazing design, but if you don't have the right work experiences or you don't get the point across quickly, the design is not going to help you get that position. It's a nice way to say it. So there you go. So you can just download this resume now to your machine. So I'll call this like my data engineering resume. Give it a name. Save it. And then you can go see it here. And there it is, saved on my machine. And I can now send this over to the recruiter who asked for this, and they can use it to hopefully apply for a job. All right, so that's a quick demonstration. It's not 100% perfect yet. There's still a few little bugs, and I'm kind of broke right now, obviously applying for jobs. So it costs about like $100 a month, roughly, to host this on Google Cloud. And I just don't have that money right now, so I just use it locally on my machine. But if anyone's interested in using it or has any feedback or anything like that, I'd love to hear it. I'm thinking about maybe open sourcing it in the future. Like I said, if it just comes to the point where I don't have time to use this, I might open source it just so someone else can use it. But there's other things to talk about. I just wanted to show you the tailoring, but it's basically the overall goal of this. So one day I'll learn more about you and to help you train and prepare for your next job. And so that's what all this other stuff up here is about, basically. But today I just wanted to show you how it tailors. So I hope that helps. And if you have any questions, just, provide them in the comments or reach out to me. Thanks.